Show that everyone has signed in and we have a quorum for the meeting. Before we go any farther, I'm going to ask Terry Johnson to say a few words.
Yeah, we'd like to begin our meeting with just a word of silence in just reflection. Recently lost one of our activity drivers, Joe Short, and so just to take a moment to pause in silence, thinking about his family.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, everyone. All of our staff, everyone on our staff is a big part of what we do and who we are, and so we do like to take time to remember them. Thank you, Terry. Okay, next we will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our next item on the agenda is comments from the audience. This is an opportunity for members of the audience to address the board concerning issues that are not on the agenda. Per policy KD, presentations should be made as brief as possible. Unless an extension of time is granted, a speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. And tonight we have one speaker who signed up, Jen Ferkeluk. Did I get this right? And she can come to the microphone. And there's a little push button and you'll see a green light come on, and we do need to be kind of close to the microphone so everyone can hear. If you'd please state your name and...
So, good evening, members of the school board. My name is Jenny Cluck, and I serve as vice president of the Brookings High School Band Boosters. I'm also the parent of 2 children in the band program, a junior and an 8th grader. I'm here to share the incredible progress of our band program and to highlight the many ways it has positively impacted our students and our community. The growth and success we've experienced in recent years is a testament to the hard work of our students, teachers, and the support of our community. Just 3 years ago, the high school had about 100 students involved in the band program. Today, we're at 150, which is a remarkable increase considering the challenges posed by COVID and smaller incoming class sizes. This growth has allowed us to expand our offerings to include a 3rd concert band and a 3rd jazz band, which gives more students the chance to participate in our program. We also offer an indoor percussion and winter guard, and we are considering adding an indoor winds program in the near future. Our students work hard, and it shows in their achievements. Over the past 2 years, we've taken home the overall trophy at the Big Sioux Review competition in Brandon, and last year, our band set a new school record with the highest score in our history at the Youth and Music Marching Band Championships in Minneapolis, which is one of the most prestigious events in the region. For the last 2 years, we've earned the highest score from any South Dakota school in our class, which is comparable to winning the state championship. These accomplishments are not just numbers. They represent the dedication and passion our students bring to their art. Beyond the performances and the awards, band provides lasting benefits for our students. Band teaches discipline, teamwork, and perseverance. Students learn to work together to create something greater than the sum of its parts, where each individual's contribution is crucial to the success of the ensemble. Band also enhances cognitive skills. Research shows that students who participate in music programs often excel in other academic areas like math and reading. Moreover, the skills developed in band, such as time management, focus, and responsibility, have a profound positive effect on a student's overall growth and success, both in school and in life. And yet, as our program continues to grow and thrive, so do our needs. As you can imagine, with a larger band program, the demand for individual attention and instruction increases. We have the highest student-to-teacher ratio at both the middle school and high school levels of any band in our conference. In addition, we are the only school in our conference that doesn't offer any middle school lessons, which makes it harder to give each student the individual attention they need to truly excel. Another band director, one who could possibly split time between the middle and high schools, would help to ease this strain. With continued support, we can keep building on the momentum we've created, offering even more opportunities for our students to succeed and represent our school and community with pride. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your continued support of our band program. Together, we can make a lasting impact on the future of our students and on our community.
Thank you, Jen. Our next item is to approve the agenda. A motion for that, please.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Is there anything anyone wants to pull from the consent agenda? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion? Ready for the vote, Stacy? Motion passes. So I will read our school district mission statement tonight, our vision statement. Empowering all learners to embrace and be inspired to realize their potential. Are there any conflicts of interest tonight, Dr. Schultz? So then we are up to presentations. And our first one is the Best Award tonight.
The best parts of the meeting. Jennifer, would you come up here so that I can say a few things while you're... I'm just going to have you stand right here. You have a whole cheering section, and you can just look out at them while I read this. So in the nomination, Jen is a tremendous asset to the Brookings High School. You can always find her helping students or asking where she is needed. She helps put together Boys Town fundraisers for our students, enabling them to purchase prizes with the points they earn each day. She also seeks out donations from businesses to contribute to the program. Not only does the staff at BHS appreciate her, which is very evident by the individuals here tonight, but the students do as well. Jen is a shining example of what a skilled behavior technician looks like, and I am honored to get to work alongside of her, says her peer. So please help me congratulate Jennifer Riedel for behavior technician at Brookings High School.
Thank you, Jennifer. Our next presentation is the mascot Manners Moose, which I think may be coming. Make sure the microphone is on, Carlene.
Push. All right. Okay. I'm Carlene Holm, and I'm the school counselor at Dakota Prairie, and we're going to keep this positivity going here. As you all are aware, we have puppet Manners Moose. Okay. All right. In just a little bit, you will get to see mascot Manners Moose in his first public appearance. All right. I know. So before I go, thanks so much to Colleen Vukovic, Best Choice Real Estate. The Mooses are going to lift positivity, create fun, and continue to bring smiles at Dakota Prairie and to all in the community. Mascot Moose will be joining some family engagement parties and activities, PTA events, and PBIS celebrations. He is also going to look forward to being a part of the 2025 Bobcat Homecoming Parade. Yep. And thanks to Colleen, Todd Jorgensen, and Tammy Bullington, Manners Moose mascot, has a uniform. He will be wearing number 52. Manners is in the back. We are confident that Manners, again, is going to bring this positivity to DP and in our community. So I got to get a song here, and we are going to start with his introduction. Introducing, are we ready? Oops, hold on. This is my
Nephew, I'm going to be singing a song for you today.
ready?
Have manners. Have manners. At Dakota. Will take over.
And
Please and thank you shine. Nation can sure enough make
awesome.
world shine. Yeah.
Woo! All right, thank you, you guys. I think that explains it. All right, thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Manners. Get in there. Hey. Bring it in, bring it in. Woo. Yay. Well, that's a hard act to follow, but Dr. Vox is here for a report on Camelot School tonight.
All right, I'm going to start off first. I want to thank you for approving the TOSA position I was able to hire at the mid of last week. So just wanted to share, I'll share the message I shared with my staff with you. Brianne Bolstead, she's a current first grade teacher here at DP, will be joining as our TOSA. She has a strong background in education and instructional leadership. She's developed a reputation for fostering student engagement, differentiating learning, and continuous improvement. She brings extensive experience into curriculum development, as she has experience in kindergarten, first, and fourth grades. Her literacy implementation, data analysis, and having worked as a teacher in our district, being a strong leader. She has mentored both teachers and students, led professional development, and has played a pivotal role in many district initiatives. Her commitment to clear communication, family involvement, and working with staff will help her jump into this TOSA position and become part of our Camelot family. So we're very excited for Brianne to join us. She will be starting January 2nd. So when we come back from the break. Did something a little different for my presentation tonight. With the help of my two counselors, Mrs. Madsen and Mrs. Seeley, they helped me record a variety of videos. So we have a movie to watch.
We have 260 fourth graders.
which is about 26 kids in each class. We have 10 homeroom teachers on 4 teams.
One of the best things about 4th grade is on holidays, your teachers might do some really fun things. Another reason 4th grade is good, you can be a knight. So then you could go to the round table.
My favorite part of Camelot is food.
My favorite part of Camelot is going to art.
The best thing I think about Camelot is recess. The best thing I think about Camelot is social studies. The best thing I think about Camelot is recess. The best thing I think about Camelot is playing in the snow when it's winter.
I think the best thing about Camelot is gym, the exercising.
My best thing in Camelot is going in PE and playing tag in PE.
We have 260 fifth graders.
We have 10 homerooms. That's an average of 26 kids in each room.
My favorite thing about Camelot is when we go to specials.
My favorite part about Camelot is going to the art room.
My favorite part of Camelot is the kind teachers.
My favorite part about Camelot is also the kind teachers.
My favorite part about Camelot is my teacher.
My favorite part about Camelot is when I can go to different spaces to work.
My teachers, feeling safe in my classroom, my amazing classmates.
The best thing about Camelot is my math class.
The best thing about Camelot is the teachers.
The best thing about Camelot is the teachers.
The best thing about Camelot is the principal and the teachers.
The best thing about Camelot is everyone is welcome.
The best part about Camelot is becoming a knight.
11 times 3, but add 2 to it.
Okay, so we have to say 11 times something. You chose 3. With how many zeros? 2. 300. Raise your hand. What's 11 times 3?
Or you get an extra shot.
Guys, I'm gonna draw the green.
I will say. No, I can take this one.
You said times 1 is 42. If we do times 10, what is it? Sweet. Oops, sweet.
43.
Yep, so can we take 430 out of 700?
Same answer.
Very nice, very nice.
Okay. Anyone feel comfortable doing the second one? Joe, go for it. You can leave it. You can do it next time.
Be respectful. Be responsible. Be safe. Be an active learner.
Being respectful is walking in the hallways quiet.
And listening to your teacher.
Following the expectations in the school is just be kind. Don't be mean or anything. Bully.
Start. Being responsible means doing your schoolwork on time.
Being responsible means cleaning up after yourself. Being responsible means to keep your locker clean. Being responsible means getting your stuff to class.
Being safe means not tackling on the playground.
Being safe means putting all of your gear on before you go outside.
Being safe means sitting respectfully in your chair.
Being an active learner means coming to class and showing up on time.
Being an active learner means participating in class.
Being an active learner means getting your schoolwork done on time.
Welcome to our podcast store. This is where we go when we get bobcat boots. You can earn, depending how much points you have, you can get little things like a slinky all the way up to t-shirts and balls. And you can get these little fidgets, snacks. You can get little board games. And you can get notebooks. Yeah. And if you save up, you can get really huge things.
Good, a little faster.
Chester, have you heard of Terry? Just got back from the army. We were construction and we made a basketball hoop. Hurry. I'm doing free draw and I'm doing a poster. We're doing free draw and we're making soccer balls. I'm doing watercolor. I'm painting on clay. I'm painting on clay with acrylic paint. We're doing clay sculptures, but we're making a monkey.
Sure, there's worries, right? If you're home alone, those are things that might make you feel worried. Yeah.
Do you know how many books are in this library?
14,166. My favorite book is the German Dictionary.
My favorite book is Nathan Hale's Hazardous Tale, Spade of No Return. My favorite book is Animals in Minecraft. My favorite book is Blizzard of the Blue Moon, Magic Tree House. My favorite book is Backup Goalie. My favorite book is Fantastic.
14 languages! These include Arabic,
Spanish,
Chinese, French,
Dinka,
Swahili,
Ukrainian, Korean,
Tree,
German, Hungarian, Russian,
Thai,
English.
No fingers in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then E, 2, 3, 4. Then F sharp. 2, 3, 4. Then G.
This is the K room. It stands for a calm and relaxing environment. We can come in here if we need a quiet place to work or break.
Very good.
We can come in here if we need a quiet place to work or break.
Very good.
My favorite part is the rock wall. My favorite part is playing volleyball. My favorite part is playing on swings. My favorite part is playing with my friends.
My favorite lunch is French toast sticks.
My favorite lunch is mini maple waffles. My favorite lunch is walking taco. My favorite lunch is walking taco. My favorite lunch is walking taco.
My favorite lunch is tater tot hot dish.
My favorite lunch is walking tacos. My breakfast is a Long John. My favorite lunch is a hot dog.
My favorite lunch is walking taco.
My favorite lunch is cheesy French red pizza. My favorite lunch is walking taco.
My favorite lunch is pizza crunches. My favorite lunch is walking taco. My favorite lunch is walking taco. My favorite lunch is pizza crunches. Did you know that since Camelot opened 14 years ago, 281 learners became knights?
This averages 20 students per year.
We are all here working together to help each other.
Camelot's a great place to work because we're family here and we support each other.
We love the camaraderie and the support from each other.
We get to have fun while we're working.
And all my coworkers are very helpful with me as a new teacher.
I believe Camelot's a great place to work. Love the kids that we get to work with and see every day. Staff that we get to work with, we work really well together. Our leadership allows us to teach the way that we feel is best by also challenging us to improve each and every day.
And I think Camelot's a great place to work because I felt welcome from the moment I came in as a practicum student and then a student teacher, and now into my second year of teaching. Also think it's a great place to work because I get to teach to my strong suit, which is math and Brady reading. But yeah.
All right. Camelot's a great place to work because of all the people that work here and all of the great collaboration we have with each other.
Camelot's a great place to work because everybody supports each other.
Camelot is a great place to work because of the people I work with. Because of the staff and the age of the students that we get to work with.
Come hang out with us at Camelot anytime.
We would love to show you around!
So, as you can see, they have lots of opinions, and I believe that having our kids showcase what they like, it was Walking Taco Day. It's a big fan for walking tacos, but it is a hot pick. So fun to see just a different variety of it, and as much as you want them to say that math or science is their favorite part of the day, you're going to get recess, you're going to get gym. So straight from their mouth, they love our school as much as I do. So any questions from you guys? Thank you.
Thank you, Cammie. We have these two wonderfully dressed gentlemen here to do a presentation from Brookings High School.
Okay, I am Justin Stanley, the high school principal.
Zach Thomas, the assistant principal at the high school.
Yeah, so today we're going to go over just a little bit of information for you guys and a little bit of data, and then talk a little bit about some culture and climate things at the end of it. Mr. Thomas will get into a few other things. So yeah, just starting off there, our staff overview at Brookings High School, our teachers, teaching assistants, BTs. You saw one of our BTs tonight get the best award. Administrative assistants, this includes Mr. Dvorak's secretary as well, and our counseling secretary, and then we have two in front office. Facilities workers, this is actually went down to 6. We had one transfer. Mr. Thomas is working on hiring one on Thursday, hopefully. Nutrition staff, there as you can see, so we have a great group of all of them, and pretty proud of all of those staff at Brookings High School. So getting a little bit into the enrollment here, I have the exact numbers of this. It's so I went back to 2021, so kind of I'll start there and go up. It was 989, 21, 22, it was 1,027, 23, 22, 23, oh, I got my dates wrong here. 22, 23 was 1,067, sorry. And 21, 22, I'm going backwards on here, sorry. 976, 2021, 21-22 was 981, 22-23 with 1,067, 23-24 was 1,027, and currently we're at 989. This might have fluctuated a little bit. As you guys know, you've been around a while, that numbers go up and down. We do have, as you guys know, with Bobcat Plains being its own attendance center, there's a number of students there. I think they're, I want to say sitting around 80 with most of them being high school students. I don't know the middle school and elementary. Large population is high school, so they account for that number. Some special education numbers here, starting from the bottom there at 2021 was 135, and 21-22 was 131. 22-23 was 152, 23-24 was 122, and then this year is 124. So this equates anywhere from about 12 to 14% of our student population, just to kind of give you that number. So obviously it's a significant number of our student count at Brookings High School, and got a great staff there and doing a lot of really great things. You guys got to see Best Award last month of some cool things happening there. I highlighted a little bit my administrative report about peer-to-peer. So lots of good things going on there. ELL, the English language learners, currently we have about 34 students, and again, this number fluctuates a little bit as well. And Holly Seaburn is our teacher there, and thought 7 languages was the amount of languages that our students are speaking there, and again, she does a great job, and she's doing a couple classes of co-teaching this year. I think she's in English and science, kind of helping her students out and collaborating with the teachers there. So some dual credit numbers here. They range from anywhere from that 19 to 20. What I did here was the full year amount of students instead of, some take semester based, as you guys know. So the bottom one there starting at 19-20 was 93, and then we go to 103, 107, 129, 119. I don't have the full number yet, obviously, because we're not completed with our year, but this, is an opportunity that hopefully we can keep going at Brookings High School and keep exploring some more options. I just put out today to the students to hopefully garner some interest in a drones class for second semester, and hope to move that into next year as well for a full year offering. So trying to get some more opportunities for our students in some different places, and we have a Lake area teacher at our school a few days a week, so it should hopefully work with some student interest. The AP participation here, all the courses that we offer on the bottom, as you can see, the numbers are on this chart, so you can kind of look at that, and these might fluctuate a little bit at semester time. We'll see if everyone sticks with it. Everybody that's in a first semester course has paid their money or elected to not take the AP test, so hopefully those numbers stay steady. And then we're trying to work through potential AP offering for next year that we're kind of excited about, but we'll see where that goes. But yeah, so some pretty good numbers here. We usually have good participation in our AP population. The chemistry and physics that you see there, those are online based through Northern State. So we have a proctor that helps those students out, and it's quite a bit of work, and she's doing a pretty good job with it because it's kind of hard to keep straight, but not able to offer those in-house, but thankfully Northern State is able to offer that for us. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Thomas to talk a little bit about JAG and a few other things here.
Yeah, so this is a new program we're excited to offer starting at semester time this year. We had initial conversations last year about how we could make JAG work, and we were lucky enough to receive a grant during the summer, a 4-year grant, so we could hire a JAG teacher. And we did that in September, and it's been really nice for her because she's had an opportunity to go visit our other schools and meet with the state JAG representatives and kind of get an idea of what she wants the class to look like. So the whole point of JAG is trying to help out students who have barriers. So one of the qualifications to go into one of the JAG courses is you have to have 5 of those barriers that they have listed, and then the ultimate goal is having them have employment. One of the really neat parts of this program is actually a year after you graduate, your JAG teacher continues to check in with you. So we're really excited. Brooke Meendering is our hire for that, and she's going to do a great job. So we'll start offering this at semester time, and then next year, hopefully we'll have 6 periods of that as we go throughout the year. Yeah, and then the last thing about JAG is there's an advisory committee part. And so Friday this week, we will be kind of selecting the different students who applied to be a part of the JAG program. There is a balance of kind of the different GPA ranges that are a part of the JAG program and some requirements on their end. But we see this as a great way to kind of meet some of the needs of our students, and we're really excited to get it started.
Do you have
Yes.
any estimate of about how many students you'll have in the JAG program?
So we had about 80 students who applied to be a part of it, and so we'll see where the selection committee ends up. It'll probably be less than 80 just because of the balancing that you have to do. But yeah, something we're hoping to grow next year and collaborate with the middle school and make sure we're getting those 8th graders who would be a good fit for the JAG program in there. And really excited to see when someone can be in there for 3 or 4 years, what they look like at the end of that time.
Thank you.
I just going to quick question on that. Is a statewide program or a federal program or both?
Yep, I think 36 states have it.
Okay.
7 or 8 different schools in South Dakota. Sioux Falls, I know Brooke went and did a visit in Iowa. So yeah, it's Vermillion has a pretty new program. So it's nice that she's been able to go to these places and not reinvent the wheel.
So funded by South Dakota DOE to us. Okay.
And if you listen to the governor's address, this is a program that she has dedicated money for in South Dakota the last couple of years. Yeah.
And then you've heard about our Bobcat Pride. We're off to a good start with this year in trying to kind of catch up with where the middle school is at. But PBIS, Positive Behavioral Intervention and Supports. I thought, our student council started by talking to every grade level at the beginning of the year what this means to them. It's really easy for Justin and I and our teachers to talk about it, but when students are hearing this from their peers of what kind of place we want Brookings High School to be, it's a lot more powerful message than one of us going up there and talking about it. So I think that did a good job of setting the tone. This is another area, and Justin will talk about this group in a second, but our Student Principal Advisory Committee, we had a group of students who applied, and this is something that we want to work with them on, is kind of targeting different areas of the school that they're seeing, and how can we work together to make sure we have everything where we want it to be at Brookings High School. And then the other cool thing that I've seen is just there's emails going around, what are you doing that's working for this student? What are you doing that's working for this student? And so many teachers have realized that positive reinforcement can be so powerful with some students. So just the different conversations that have been started because we've put this program into place has made a nice change at Brookings High School.
Yeah, so lastly here, this title there, the culture and climate work, this honestly is, what Zach and I got together is formal, trying to say not formally, you're not fired yet, colleagues, this was one area we really wanted to focus on at Brookings High School. I had been there, I've been there 4 years now, and obviously first year in the principal role. And Zach had been there in the teacher role, the TOSA role, and now the assistant role. Looking at all three of these areas, we knew we had some work to do. Obviously, our students are the most important piece of our school, and really know that we can harness some of their minds, some of their thoughts. And he had brought up that student principal advisory committee. We started brainstorming different things there, and we put out basically an application process, and I think we had around 25, 26, 27 something apply, and we had to obviously go through that, and could only have so many. We didn't want to have all of them just due to the fact of sheer size, but I think we ended up with 12 or 13. Dr. Schultz, we invited her. One of their things was they wanted to learn about leadership, and with Mr. Thomas and I, we'll give them some of that, but obviously to harness their own leadership. We have a little more seniors in there. I think we have 6, and like to lean on them. They've been in the high school, obviously the longest. They have a lot of good thoughts. So that's been pretty exciting, and I think with that group, hopefully we can keep rolling with that. A couple other things that we've done with our students. We're working on expanding our coursework opportunities, potentially. Talked about that lake area piece, the JAG piece we had talked about, and we're working on some things hopefully for next year. So along with that, some scheduling input we got from the students, and we usually get a pretty good amount of input from them because they like to talk about that sort of thing, which is good because they're the ones living the daily schedule as well as students. And then the last one sounds a little odd, but I think ultimately it's a good thing, and it goes a little bit with the PBIS part, is the expectations, that we as a staff, as a whole, put down for kids. I think kids ultimately do need, that groundwork of expectations to succeed, whether it's in the classroom or activities, being at different types of activity events and things. So we've really tried to harness that and some of those pieces of the pride work. Our teachers there, we obviously have our PAC team. We started out our summer, I think about a week before school start, and got them all together. I know, some of the comments we had heard, we've never done that before, which is great that we started this year. I thought it was really productive. We spent like a 2.5-3 hour time slot with them, and started off the year right, and continue to do that. We have a really strong group of teacher leaders in that group. And then the scheduling committee we created, I talked a little bit about that in my administrative report. Again, we put out an application process for that, and we had, I think, 6 applications for that, and they were all different content areas. And then we have 2 of our 4 counselors in there, and then Mr. Thomas and I, and we've gone through some of the input that we've got. We've worked through some of our own things, done a lot of research, presented to our staff, I believe 2 weeks ago. Still working on that, and hopefully we can come up with something that's really great for actually all 3 of these people involved that are on this. And then obviously our families are important. Started a newsletter this year just to put out basic, even if it's just basic information, and things like here's a link to our website, or here's how you get the app, or here's what's going on with the first quarter. And we had a band booster here. We talked about, highlighted some activities in there, some of the good things that are happening. We do have a PTA kind of in the works. I think they're doing a breakfast on Sunday. So that's been kind of a long time coming. We've had one lingering in the background. Now we want to kind of bring it to the forefront. So hopefully that can really get rolling. We have a really strong, dedicated parent there working to make that happen. And obviously it takes a little bit of time. And then, really lastly, Mr. Thomas talking about the Bobcat Pride, that kind of sums up everything that we want within these groups. But talking about goals for our year, this is really our number one goal this year is to make this a great place, and it is a great place, but have people feel good about being there and wanting to come there. So that's all we have for you. We were told to be brief, and hopefully we accomplished that for you. But if there's any questions, feel free to ask, and we'll do our best to answer.
I think I was going to ask about the number of counselors, and you did say 4 counselors for 989 students.
So 3.5, actually, sorry. But four people. But yeah, one of them is a 0.5. So, yep, they work hard.
Yeah, I would love to be able to say that we got the resources to hire additional counselors, because I know at the high school level, that's a really valuable piece for our students to have those resources where they can go to someone when they need someone to talk to. A counselor is a great person for that. So, and I really want to applaud the idea of getting the families more involved, because I know at the elementary level, the PTAs are very strong and their parents are very actively involved, and then it just tends to decline as they continue through the school system. So I applaud the efforts of getting that PTA going again at the high school.
Justin, if you could go back to your slide in blue and give Stacy the exact numbers for minutes of how many persons or students are in learners or in each of those columns for each year. For the you said it.
Dual credit, or
you said it. That's fine. You don't need to repeat it.
The enrollment.
And I didn't write. Yeah, the enrollments.
Yeah.
Which I think could be nice to have in the minutes for the public, because people read the minutes. You don't need to repeat it now.
Give it to
you. Just get it to Stacy, including in special ed, whatever you do, because people are interested in that. So.
Yep.
Do you see any, or what do you feel are still your biggest challenges that you're still dealing with at the high school? Are there any things we can do to help alleviate or?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I mean, some challenges, I talked about some of the expectations piece. I know our students are great, our staff are great, but really harnessing what we should and shouldn't be doing at the high school. And we have a strong administrative team as well, and as a TOSA as well, that really works hard to, anything from attendance to behaviors. That's always going to be a challenge, I think, at our level. Probably the attendance piece, just because there's a little bit of freedom at the high school level. You're an adolescent, and you got anywhere from up to 19-year-olds. But I think the key there is the climate and culture piece that I was talking about, building the relationships with the kids, and hopefully they really want to be able to come to your class, whatever that is that you're teaching. So that's one challenge. I know our scheduling committee is looking at some pieces. We're kind of trying to do more with less, so to speak. But I think we have a really good brains operating in there that are thinking outside of the box with some stuff. Anything from, JAG has helped, to some of these lake area pieces, to trying to find ways to bring in more coursework that doesn't necessarily take one of our teachers. But with that said, trying to expand the opportunities that we are having for our students. Like, we've asked them to, hey, what are some courses that you would like to teach if we were able to maybe consolidate a class? Like, if there's a course of 10 kids and another class of 24, maybe we can disperse some of the 10 somewhere else if there's multiple sections. Zach has worked pretty hard at that. So those are some challenges as well, but like I said, we've been working, I think, since late September on that. But there's only so many things you can do within a schedule, of course, as you guys know. But do you have anything to share there, Mr. Thomas?
No.
Challenges?
I think Bobcat Plains has helped a lot with that too, where that's a better fit for some students, or with the mental health piece that you mentioned. If you need a shorter day, or you need to work on 1 or 2 classes at a time, I think that's been a great asset for us this year too.
Can you give us any indication about average class size? I know it varies dramatically from one content area to another, but do we have any idea about what it's averaging at the high school?
And like you said, it varies content areas. We're actually looking at some things on last Friday, projected class sizes of some things we want to be. And it's hard because you have, they had mentioned band and choir, and we have Denise Perry on our scheduling team with us, which has been great because music is such a big component of a school. But, they can have so many students, and, some of the CTE courses that you're dealing, like automotive, you want to have a little bit less. So I would say, in our content-based class, or our core content-based classes, probably right now, I'd say anywhere from probably the mid-20s, maybe a little bit less. There's a little fluctuation here and there, of course, with sometimes the way the cookie crumbles with schedules, it all gets analyzed from our computer, but we do our best to balance everything out. So some of our upper level, I know there's a AP class right now that Mr. Cry teaches. I think it's in the low 30s, but he's got a lot of high flyers in there, and they're loving wanting to be in there to learn. We try to keep our younger students' numbers down a little bit more, obviously, for reasons that you guys know. But yeah, so I would say in those mid-20s probably. It just really, it does get based off of content areas, so.
I think even things like adding esports, you're maybe picking up a group of kids that didn't really have a niche
Absolutely.
before, and now they have a spot to be. So I think those all the things you're doing should be commended, and thank you. Yeah.
They got a really cool room for them in there, so, the esports room, so.
Okay, anything else for Justin or Tom? Okay, thank you guys.
I'm gonna
for-
come bring you guys a sticker
Oh.
that we brought, Bobcat Pride sticker, so I'll give you those as I step down.
So yeah, thank you for coming, and thank you for coming also, Cammie. We really appreciate hearing from you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on then to board communications. Is there anything from the Performance Oversight Committee?
Yes, we met just a couple weeks ago and did last week and a couple weeks, and did build, got caught up. We're doing that on a regular basis. And then also last month met with the insurance, and we'll be voting on that later about the holiday pay, the premium. And it was a good meeting, but just a reminder, it's not a guarantee ever, that it's based on the good overall health of the whole group. And so the plan has to be solvent. And so, might not always be available, but this year it is, and we'll vote on it later. Yeah.
Any questions for them? All right, we'll move on to facilities and construction.
We have not been called to be together. We talked about that last meeting, so hopefully I just don't know if there's a need for an update right now or when we'll get back together. I don't know.
Then we will move on to policy.
We have met, and as you can see on the agenda, there are several policies we'll be looking at the second reading of tonight. Was requested by Kelly that we take a look at our wellness policy. And in so doing, we found out we are supposed to have a wellness committee with members of our community involved in that, on that committee. And so Dr. Schultz has initiated efforts to try to get people involved on that committee so that we can move forward. So that policy is, we didn't ignore it, but it's under review and we're trying to get that reinstated.
I would just add, thank you, Cammie, for coming to that meeting. She explained how there's really two different wellness things. There's more like a wellness program for the staff, and then there's the wellness policy, which deals with our students. And we did just collect the data that was needed, that is to be done every 3 years. So that's good, but we are looking toward the spring to get the committee together and then get a new policy template. Right now, we have a policy and a regulation, and there should just be a policy. So we'll get templates for that and bring that together.
We were in compliance, and Laura had a committee. It's just that, we're really not sure, it wasn't very active, and it really should, because I think she was tasked with it because it is required for our food service program during the review process, but it really goes outside of her work and more into the line of snacks and physical activity, recess, FIED. And, she's done the very best, that she could, and did have members on evaluating the current, and so we're up to compliance and all of that, but we just thought we would take it off of her plate. And then, yes, that's one of the 2 committees we are asking for the PTA to help so that, and we still don't, I will be the main contact for now. I wouldn't mind having that be someone else. But for right now, as we get it re-going, I told Laura that I would do that. She has 3 reviews coming up. So having her redo the wellness policy that was just evaluated 2 months ago wouldn't be fair for me to ask her. So I will do that.
The other thing with the policy committee is we've started talking about boundaries and looking into some of that. And Dr. Schultz is working on that. And at our January work session, we will dig into that deeper. And I don't know if you have anything else to add, Deb or Dr. Schultz, on that?
No, not until we get to the actual adaptation of the.
Next, we have our school finance committee. We met on November 25th, and we looked at the supplemental budget, and Nate Lohr was there with our buses, and he has asked for some aids on the inter-school bus routes, 3 of them for the afternoon. The mornings are fine. The afternoons, everyone's a little more awake, and so we were looking at that. We also started looking at plans for the science rooms, just at the beginning discussions of that. And of course, later tonight, we will be voting for the boiler project and how we'll be funding that. So any questions for Finance Committee?
It's the first meeting we had that we knew what our allocation was going to be from the state based upon our enrollments.
Our numbers.
Which is enrollments, the enrollment number is taken on the last Friday of September, so that's.
Okay, then we have any general or ad hoc committees, any reports?
I was going to comment that as a member of the Mental Health Coalition, I've been invited to attend a Communities That Care Key Leader program tomorrow, training, and that will be at Daktronics, and so I'm excited for the opportunity. It's the United Way is working on efforts in the community to promote youth and help our youth, and so I think this is going to be a really nice event for that.
I would just share from the early learning group. I think this group might know that Tim Reed has resigned from his position from the BEDC, and then the city is going through a study of some combinations of some of those committees. And so Dr. Schultz and I have been actively trying to get back together with that group just to kind of see our next steps. And his team had really set those meetings up and done all of that work. And so just needing to figure out who's going to kind of take the lead on really just the planning side of it, not the kind of collaborative work, but just so you know, that's sort of what the lull is from the early learning group right now.
Then we'll go on to general comments. Any general comments from board members?
Well, I attended the Wax Museum and I saw there, and then I find out that, you recognize grandparents, you recognize students who's, with their grandparents and their parents, and so you try to figure that out as you go along. But it's kind of interesting. I hadn't been to that before. And then on a serious note, I went to the Associated School Board's resolution meeting on Friday the 19th, whatever it was.
Anyway, the resolutions pretty much says continuing from prior years, but they're the new era issue is the voucher program for that the governor is proposing for students who families who choose to homeschool or attend a private school or other settings that are not public. That is going to be a major legislative issue, and the associated school boards took a policy position in opposition of it. And we're going to hear a lot more about this, folks, in the next 90 to 120 days. It's going to start, the legislative session starts second Tuesday of January. I think it's the 14th of January, and we're going to have to pay attention to that because this could have some real impact on our budget via the state allocation to the school districts. And so this isn't a conflict between private education and homeschooling and public education. It's about where the resources. Right now, we know at this around this table that there are things that we're responsible for in this district that we don't get adequate financing, adequate funding for. We won't go into that at this juncture, but these are things that need to be. And I know that Dr. Schultz and her staff is going to be monitoring it closely and keeping us briefed on what she sees, and as well as what we see or hear from the legislative process and our local legislators. So.
Going to ask, and it's probably later, but could you have Heather share with us the student number in each level? I know she put out the funding that we get for each level, but I was interested to see how many, and we've gotten that before, but could she just get that to us as an addition to her report?
Renee sends it to me every month,
Okay.
and so I will give you November's.
Yeah,
and
that's
it has
just
a
fine.
breakdown of each grade and then the specific disability that we have under each.
Yeah, I just was trying to connect in my head that to the voucher concept and what that would all look like from an eventual advocacy perspective.
I think that's a really important component.
I had a couple of things. I wanted to give a shout out to all the school groups that helped with Project Joy. That was great to see. There was the basketball team, the football team, but all the way down to the elementary students that collected socks and items for Project Joy. So I just think that's such a great community effort, and I was happy to see so many of our student groups get involved. And then, as Justin mentioned earlier, this Sunday is the breakfast at the VFW. And if you haven't gone to that before, it's a very good breakfast. I like biscuits and gravy, never make it for myself, so I can always get biscuits and gravy there. And all the proceeds are going to go to the high school PTA group, and they'll be serving. Last month, the General Federated Women's Group served, and their funding, or what they received in profit, is going to help support the school lunches, where we have people that are struggling with school lunches. So let's support our school and show up and have a good breakfast. And it goes from I think it's from 9 until 1. So you have plenty of opportunity to get there.
It was a raffle for a quilt. I must not have won because I didn't get a call.
I just want to give a shout out to our choir and band. This is a busy time with a lot of concerts all the way from the little people to the high school, and choral, band, orchestra. The play was great, the high school play. I just think the fine arts, especially around the holidays, do a lot of work.
I would mention that on December 4th, I went to the quarterly meeting, which involves the county and the city and the hospital and everybody. And the United Way did mention about the communities that care, and it's really going to focus on building a coalition for our middle and high school students. The county asked us to keep them informed on the sale of the 5th Street Gym because their parking lot is involved there. The hospital said they've had 3 RSV cases and pneumonia's on the increase. So if you're feeling sick or whatever, they said stay home. There were, United Way also reported there's about 475 students in the backpack project. And then they did ask, so this was the day after the Day of Giving, and so they asked, I was asked about our school lunch fund and where we're at with debt and getting people paid. So I didn't know if that's something maybe Laura could include in her report at times. And so that was just, I think people in our community are very willing to give for students with that. So anything else from anyone? Okay.
I think twice now the school lunch has come up. And I'm just going to say this, if anybody and the persons that are listening to this in the community, if anybody finds it in their heart to contribute to the fund, the school lunch fund, and help those deficits children have that aren't able to finance and pay for their new lunch, I think there'd be a good place for your
donations,
put money, financial assistance, because that's dependent on private giving for those shortages of funds that families don't have to pay their lunch, student lunch money.
And I did mention that our children in our schools eat. We don't, whether they can pay for it that day or not, they are given a lunch or a breakfast that is needed. And so we do take care of our children that way. So, all right, we will move on then to administrative reports. Superintendent's report, Dr. Schultz.
It is quite lengthy, so I don't want to go through it. Hopefully you can take some time to look at it. Not really sure which pieces to point out. We are soliciting parent or family assistance on both the wellness and the school start time committees. The school start time committee, that's a separate document. That's one where we want to, this is a small group. They are going to work with Nate and just research some possibilities, look at what we currently do, some of the unintended consequences potentially. We really want people that can see past. We want perspectives, but we also understand there's such a bigger piece, and sometimes people get just kind of in on their own. And so the transportation director, along with our administrators, will do the majority of that work and then provide me. I'm not going to be running that committee. They will provide just some updates that are brought up about that. We talked a little bit about the wellness. And again, the wellness will not be something that would be in effect until the next school year, because that is when you share out that information on new things. If you haven't taken a look at the website, I encourage you to. Samantha Turnquist, she is our new registrar and student, or our new communications individual who started at the beginning of the school year, and I tell you, she has just done a tremendous job helping us tell our story and learning those different platforms. And again, we just want people to understand that that app is where the immediate information will come. If you are downloading one thing, that is what you should download. There's some pictures in there from a Great Place to Learn. Evian Johnson, she is a BHS student who is also, she also competes in pageants, and one of her platforms is a dyslexia platform. And I thought it was great because she had asked to meet with me on one of our vacation days, and she wanted to know what we're doing at Brookings School District for learners like her, because I don't know that she always felt as if we were doing enough for learners like her. And so it felt so good to be able to say, here's what we're doing, here's what we've done, here's where we're going. And it's a non-negotiable. You all hired me, and if I'm your superintendent, then it's everyone needs to be committed that every student deserves a teacher who knows how to teach reading, and every teacher and administrator then also deserves to be taught. And that includes those language-based disabilities for students like Evian, so that we can commit to those early and make sure that everything from our interventions, we spend a lot of money on literacy and language and whatnot interventions, well, they still need to align with what the science tells us. And so we still have a lot of work to do, but we have gotten a lot of things in place. And it was so great, Dr. Vox was there with me, that we were able to share some of the work that's being done with our literacy plans in all areas of the school. And you can see she came with me to educate her for a day and taught a fifth grade classroom a couche exercise. And if you don't know that, it is something that is used on students with different neurodivergent learning styles that maybe allows them to bring in focus. For Evian, it was something that gets her brain more ready. I don't explain it very well, but I do know we have lots of students in our district who have found these activities from outside consultants, that sort of thing. But those are things that we should know, we should be doing. And it was great to bring Evian in, and we taught the students, and I put in there that even by the end of my meeting with her, Cammie had asked her, come to my staff, teach my staff this, because it's just a great strategy for a lot of different learners. A great place to work. You saw that we've been working on the committee, the calendar committee. The proposed calendar that will come out in the next month or so will not be significantly different. We're just looking at a couple different areas that we want to make sure we like or don't like before we do it. A draft of the survey will go to the administrators on Thursday, and then it will be out for all individuals soon after that. I shared a podcast, that Engaging Leadership podcast I was asked to be on. It was kind of fun, and it was kind of neat to be able to represent us. I think this individual saw me present at the national conference, and so it was just kind of neat, and it's kind of long, but so if you need something to get you back to sleep at night or something, maybe turn it on. But
No, actually, I would say that was very, very good. And I feel honored that you were there and that you represented our school very well. So thank you for that, Dr. Schultz.
I do appreciate that. Under a responsible district, I put some tidbits on there about new leadership in our legislative body, some different things about when I am going to be in peer. Some of the things to watch out for, I do think we want to keep an eye on the Returning Education to Our States Act, which Senator Rowan introduced, along with those different areas of the governor's budget address. Again, I don't have anything this evening on just what those mean or don't mean, or what I feel maybe we should do. But some of the things I do worry about is, the dual credit program cuts to that. The governor asked our Board of Regents to find $2 million in reductions, and sometimes when those things happen, it kind of comes back onto us, especially with our partnership. I just took a picture today with the SDSU's landscape team and Dr. Crawford and Dr. Bergstrom, and I worry that, some of those things that we're so fortunate to have in Brookings, slowly it's hard to make everything work so we just want to pay attention to that. The state library, a recommendation to $1 million to the state library budget, which, keep in mind, that's the programming that supports our students' access to online library database. So when our students find books, and then the public library also. So there are other things that we really just need to look at the overall piece of this. The $4 million to establish the educational savings account, $1 million of that is to get it up and going. And I know that the governor did say this was not taking away from any of her allocations to K-12 education, but I don't know what maybe didn't get proposed in a sense. And then that $5.3 million from the TANF program, Jody Hernandez from the Boys and Girls Club and I, we've done a lot of work looking at that program and how some states have used that program as a way to bring funding back in to their before and after school programming for at-risk students, and knowing that our collaborative is made up of the 3 organizations for our early learning. I also question why maybe we couldn't look there, and I don't understand enough about it, but I know that South Dakota gives back a significant amount of that money, so I'm not sure why we're not trying to use it instead of, but there again, I don't want to speak too soon before I have time to really research all of these, so. Continuous improvement, you can see that the next 2 steps are really finalizing that organizational scorecard. A lot of the scorecard is done. It's the parts that are hard to measure that are not done. And that's where we need a district team. We've spent, 2 years with perceptions from community, parents, stakeholders, students, all of that. Now it gets to the work of the implementation plan, and that's a district plan. That's where we've taken all the priorities, we've sent those 4 pillars, which you can see the draft of the document on the very bottom. Now we determine in each area what that looks like in each school, and that's where, we have to form that team with the people that can really speak for their department, their area. I always go to these 2 in the back usually when I'm looking for opinions on certain things, so odds are they will be asked to be on the committee or put someone on. But now that work, for example, when we are looking at climate, and when we're looking at, say, measuring student climate, and that comes back to some behaviors and that sort of thing. But how do we measure that so that our strategic plan doesn't just go in the binder? It truly needs actionable things that we can look at from year on out so that we can report those to you. So that's that last piece of that. And then the responsible district pillar, that's that 4th piece. Everything that our budget process is coming up. I went into the budget process somewhat blind last year, but now that I've had a year and a half, our entire budget should revolve around the pillars that came out of the strategic planning. Otherwise, there's no reason to do a strategic plan. So allocations, that's where resource allocation, that's where initiatives, all of those come out of that plan. And so that committee will also come to the work session and make sure that that committee that's speaking on behalf of the strategic district plan and the school board all see things the same way. Otherwise, we go into, and you go into the budget still with our own initiatives or our own thoughts, not aligning them to that district plan. And so that work really needs to happen in the next 2 months. And if you have other questions, let me know. I know it's a very long document.
Any questions for Dr. Schultz? Thank you, Dr. Schultz. Next, we have all the other administrative reports. I'm going to just get us through those. If again, very informative to read those and know all the things that are happening. If you have any comments, I'm just going to click through, and you want anything to comment on, definitely speak up.
I just wanted to comment, it was very happy to see the attendance report from both Camelot and Madera, that they were over 90%, closer to 95%. That's a real positive, and I'm hoping that means we're seeing probably that trend at all of our schools. It was only reported in those 2 reports, but I think that's a very positive trend.
I think, too, there were very high percentages of parents who came to conferences, which was good. Okay, we're to our policies. So again, we can go through these briefly unless you have questions. Can I call on you, Deb, or do you want me to?
So I think last time we talked about our approach these with our at our last meeting. The first one that you see is the second reading of the new policy, AH, conflict of interest disclosure and authorization. And this is actually a new policy. Board members, it came directly from the Associated School Boards. We did not make any changes in what they sent us, and it's quite lengthy. It's about 3 pages. So hopefully you've read through it. They did give very clear definitions of what it means to be a school official, have an interest in a contract that might indicate that you have a conflict of interest, and then what it means to have a direct benefit from a contract. So I think we've clarified what this means very easily in this policy, but if you have questions, and then there's also a disclosure form that goes along with that, that individuals would need to complete if they felt they had a conflict of interest or a direct benefit.
And that is separate from the next
Right,
policy.
yep.
Go ahead, Deb.
And so if any of you have any questions on that one, let us know. But the next one is on board members' conflict of interest. And again, we received assistance from the Associated School Boards. I think the thing that stood out to me on this one that I just want to point out, it's not just if you have a direct financial gain. It also is if you're involved in an organization or hold an office in some other organization where those duties might be incompatible or inconsistent with your duties as a board member, or might actually have an impact on that organization, influence them. So we have to be very conscientious about that as we look at some of the things that we deal with as a board. We're a small community, so we're involved in a lot of things outside of the school board as well. So again, I think that was clarified there, but I just want to point that out, that it really is more than just a financial gain. And then again, we got the assistance from the Associated School Board. The next one is staff participation in political activities, policy GBG. And that just identifies that we recognize that the staff employees have the same fundamental civic responsibilities and privileges as all citizens. And so they may participate outside of the school day in campaigning, and they may seek extended levels or leaves of absence, but that would have to be approved. But they will not lose their job or position for becoming a candidate if they should choose to do so.
And that was a new policy.
And that was a new policy, again, came directly from the Associated School Boards. The distance learning policy, IGB, this is especially important for our learners that are taking the dual credit courses that are online, and our learners at Bobcat Academy where the courses are online. And so we did ask Michelle Vanderweerd to review this with us, and she did. And she was comfortable with the changes that had been made by the Associated School Boards. And so that policy clearly outlines what will take place if students are involved in an online or virtual course.
Next one, JECB, open enrollment.
Open enrollment. We did not make many significant changes to this one, but as Dr. Schultz pointed out in the board agenda, we needed to remove the policy language that requires the open enrollment application to indicate whether a student is on an IEP or needs special education courses, as well as the clause that states failure to provide this information will void the open enrollment request. The DOE has eliminated the IEP section from the open enrollment form, and so we needed to update our policy accordingly.
And I just want to make sure everybody understands that does not mean there's not a component of that to accepting. It means districts, we still have the obligation to go determine if that student has an IEP, whatnot, but it's not on the form. So it makes it all a little bit unique, but I think there was some confusion maybe on that piece.
The next one, JFCH. This one deals with alcohol and other drug use by learners. And the key thing there was that we wanted to specifically state that drugs, narcotics, dangerous or illegal chemical substances also included tobacco, nicotine delivery devices like vaping, e-cigarettes, and so that was just added to the policy to clarify it. Learner suspension or expulsion, policy JGD. Again, that provided language clarification regarding firearm and dangerous weapons, but then also, again, regarding the vaping and making sure that that was clarified. Otherwise, there weren't any significant changes other than that. Let's see, we are repealing, or we have been asked to repeal the learner self-administration of asthma or anaphylaxis medication. The nurses would like to have that repealed because there is a form that they already complete where the administration of medications to learners consent form, and they feel that covers that. We don't need to have an additional form. Just just makes bookkeeping a little bit easier for them. Then policy JO, which is learner records. Again, you saw in the board agenda, the two things that clarified there, that FERPA permits the release of personally identifiable information from their records if it deals with financial aid, because if they're applying for financial aid, that information then can be made available. So I think that was the only clarification or change on that one. JOE, the learner directory. Just a couple of changes there. Again, it was the one regarding financial aid. And then a difference in a title of the office from the family policy compliance to student privacy policy office.
And you can include their email.
And you can include their email. We did add that in the learner directory information.
Any questions on those? Okay. Thank you, Deb. All right, we're up to the consent agenda. Need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Kelly moved, Terry second. Ready for the vote? That motion passes. Move on then to the donation, the approval of the donated items.
Second.
Kelly seconds. I'll just mention that we got a donation, 2 donations for esports, one from Ruckus and one from IT Outlet, and also a donation from Bobcat Backers for gymnastics. Ready for the vote on that, Stacy? Passes. We now have a approval of the seniority list.
I move approval of the seniority list.
Moves. Second.
Second.
Seconds. Any comments or questions on that? I just look at all the years that people have taught, and I bless you all for all that.
Next, we'll have a senior list for school board members.
Yikes. Okay, we're ready for that vote, Stacy? That motion passes. So we're up to the approval of a supplement to the 2024-2025 budget.
Janet?
I second that.
Stacy, do you have anything to mention about that, or?
I would just say that it could be visited again if needed. You know, we cut it down significantly, I think, from when we started the Finance Committee a month or 2 ago. And we are still, I think we're spending about half of what we got in additional state aid. So there is still some if we need to. Otherwise, we can spend less of cash reserves, which is fantastic.
Any questions? All right, we're ready for the vote, Stacy? That motion passes. Now we have to approve the declaration of covenants for the Fifth Street Gym. I would move approval of the declaration of covenants for the Fifth Street Gym. We need a second, please.
I'll second that.
Wes seconds that. I'd mentioned that, I hope you've all had a chance to read it, and it's mainly things we put in that keeps that neighborhood, that it's a fitting use for the neighborhood.
I just had a question on I think Dr. Schultz maybe sent that out, but when it says, sorry, I'm just trying to find my spot here.
2.01.
Okay, sorry, thank you. I really do need extensive glasses. So no structure may be used for residential purposes. Is that just those purposes listed or any rezoning residential purposes? Because I don't feel comfortable saying for 20 years, no residential use. I agree with the detention center, treatment facility, those types of things, but no residential is even different from its current zoning, so I didn't understand how that even made sense. I would assume it's zoning overlays a covenant pre-sale, so I just don't feel prepared that we're actually ready to vote on this as for modifying 2.01.
I did just send you an email on, or forwarded in case I didn't connect with you today. I did not catch our attorney before I left the office today. There was five areas that we had requested be put on the covenant. And my question was also that on 2.01, when it could allude to the fact that it is more of a specific residential type group home. However, I would like you to wait until we can get clarification, because I'm not sure the R2 would take care of residential where we didn't include manufacturing on it because of the zoning, and so that's just, I'm not 100% sure on the wording. So I would ask you to just wait, or at a minimum, know what you want in order to include in the motion, but I did not hear back.
So are you thinking that residential means it couldn't be an apartment building or anybody who could reside there?
Right. Where it's zoned R2 right now, so it can be single family. I think it was like, right now it's zoning, if I remember correctly, could be like 2 duplexes.
Yep, it could go up to
basically,
duplexes.
2 duplexes, 4 total, whatever. So I guess I don't see the need to remove that as a 20-year option. So
I'm not sure why he added that
I would
word.
suggest we table that.
Would ask you to.
I don't know from a sales perspective if that matters, because I guess, well, I don't think we even have to do it because before January, would we need to?
We would not need to. We do have a work session on the 17th.
And we could have it done.
And so the piece that I don't understand why we added, or other residential use, that wording is confusing to me. And so
It says no structure may be used for residential purposes. So I just think that that's not correct.
It's not what we asked. So I apologize that I didn't ask him early enough today, but I'm not comfortable with it either.
Table. Yep, motion to table. Whoever made the motion.
Okay. So Wes moves to table this. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ellie has a second. And then we vote? We don't vote.
Oh, no
We bring it
discussion.
back next time. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out, Kelly and Summer. And more than likely, it would be on the 17th that we could get back to that and get it. Okay.
Ready to vote?
So then we have,
Need to vote. We have a motion here.
you have it up, Stacy?
I believe you do vote on tabling.
Okay. Okay, so that will be tabled till a future meeting. Then we have next the approval of authorizing the resolution for private placement loan for the BHS boiler project.
I move approval.
I will second that. Do we have any discussion? Can we get,
Well, yeah, I think for the benefit of the public, I'd like to explain this a little bit, that This is kind of a different way in which we finance our facility improvements. In this case, they will have, we don't call it a line of credit, but we can call it that we'll have an ability to, we are authorizing our business manager, director, to then, when the board approves, for instance, a progress payment on the boiler project as an example of several $100,000 at a board meeting, then they contact, in this case, First Bank and Trust, and say that on this amount that we have authorized to borrow against, in this, it's 4.5 million, we need this amount that the board approved, and then they would allocate it to this district, and the district can draw upon that. And the benefit of this is we then only pay pay interest on the money in which we've had advanced. And then as time goes along and we then in the payment phase of it, we can prepay without penalty, or extend it based upon the board's action. So it has a lot of flexibility that is just will work nicely in this, as opposed to when we build a school or whatever. So I think this is a good process. We have Steve Holge here to answer any questions, if we have that. Any questions or explanation? Thank you for both of you. Meanwhile, this is going to work out nicely, I think, over the next several years as we cash flow the boiler project and anything else that comes up, because we know that things happen that will where there's going to be additional funding needs or resource needs within that estimate as time goes on. I've spoken too much about this, but I think this public will understand that this increases the maximum flexibility for the board and for the school district.
I'm just going to clarify, but you kind of made the point at the end, is that and so I don't know if we need to modify the motion, but we could spend that on other components not related to the boiler project.
Correct.
That is right now, our intent is to pay for the boiler project with these funds, but the funds could be utilized to our discretion and pulled from, based on our discretion. Correct? Yep. That's right? Okay.
We know right away we're going to have some cleanup to do with existing areas with some asbestos, whatever,
Yep.
which is.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments? Okay, we're ready for the vote. Stacy?
Sorry,
That
I
motion
should have said
passes.
before, but so sorry, no need to change the name of the motion due to that.
We'll need all of the $4.5 million to pay for the boiler project.
Okay.
So in my mind, it's freeing up maybe some other money that we already have
Okay.
for other projects, so I
Okay.
don't know that we need.
And
to
if we
change.
needed to do something, we could make
We
different
could-
motions at
correct,
different times. Okay,
correct.
got it.
Okay, moving on, then we have to approve the health and dental insurance holiday for employees that the employees have elected for the district's
I
health and
move,
dental.
yep, I move the approval of the health and dental insurance holiday for
I
employees.
second that.
Any questions or comments?
Happy holidays.
I think Terry just pointed out earlier that we have to remember that we cannot become dependent on that. We know that insurance rates are going to go up next year.
We do say that every year.
I know, we do. We're trying to reinforce it.
But I'll just reiterate, Cammie had mentioned when we met that some of the things that employees' wellness program is doing helps save
Absolutely.
on
That's
those premiums, so.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's-
Okay, we're ready for that vote. Stacy? That motion passes. We have to approve the workshop we're having on December 17th. It'll be at noon. And what location?
As here.
Oh, here, okay. I move that we approve the workshop meeting on December 17th.
Second.
And we have a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, we're ready for the vote, Stacy. That motion passes. And then we need to appoint a board member to the Associated School Boards of South Dakota Legislative Action Network. One.
No, the time commitment.
I don't need to be that, but I hope to go to peer on this voucher thing.
Do we know the time commitment?
It, basically, you hop on calls as needed once in a while, or they will send you emails to share out so that you're kind of that conduit of information from Associated School Boards to your other board members. So it's a pretty limited time commitment. I think they do sometimes ask for one trip to peer, but I don't know that that's as necessary if you understand the role.
I'm going to be out of town for a couple of some period of time during the session, so
Teresa, you did it last year. I'm happy to do it this year.
Would do
Yeah,
it, Kelly? I
yeah.
was just going to ask if anyone was willing to.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be out of town some of that session too, so I didn't feel like I could jump on.
Great. I'm happy to do
So
it.
I move that Kelly would be our appointed board member for the Legislative Action Network.
I'll second that.
Deb seconds it.
I take
Last
chocolate
chance.
and coffee.
Okay.
I brought you
Ready
chocolate.
for the vote, Stacy?
Take other.
I just want to point out that we all have to pay very close attention because that voucher issue and some of the other issues that are going to be brought up are going to be really critical. So we're happy to have Kelly on that role, but we all need to be paying very close attention.
I think everyone gets the emails from Tyler and yeah.
Okay, our next item is to move into an executive session for some updates.
It'll take 2 minutes.
So I need a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Kelly moves, second, please. Second. And we have a second. There will be no action coming out of this executive session. And we are ready for that vote. Stacy?
I've had you have to like bend.
I need to say like one statement, and that's it. And maybe we'll actually.
I've had several other ones where I've had